Hey, what's up bros? Welcome back to another video on Pokemon Sleep. It's Bro Vinny here. Today we're going to talk about daylight savings and how it affects the Pokemon Sleep app. Now, if you've never heard of daylight savings, don't worry, it's probably because it doesn't affect you. But if it does affect you, I gotta say, daylight savings is one of the weirdest concepts ever. Too long didn't read? Daylight savings was first introduced to save candle usage by extending the amount of sunlight you can get during the day through changing your clock. Now, the reason why I decided to talk about this today is because some of our UK members have woken up today with some interesting numbers, and I'm going to show you some of them. So Dan from my Discord has posted one of the sleep data where he was affected by the daylight savings. In his case, you can see that his clock was put back 1 hour at 1 a.m. And that is why in this chart over here, the timeline is a bit weird. We go from 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. to 2 a.m., but there's a long section here. That's because of daylight savings. So while the app does actually record your sleep data in this period, when it actually goes to calculate your total hours slept, it only uses the hour you wake up minus the hour that you went to sleep. You can see that it's reflected up here. The actual hours calculated is about 10.5 hours. So in other words, even though you slept an extra hour, and let's say you wake up at the usual time, the app does not consider that as an extra hour of sleep. So in this case, Dan actually slept 11 hours and 30 minutes, but the app only gave him 10.5. But that's not really a big deal because he'll start the day as usual from his usual starting time. But what I don't know is whether the game considers an extra hour of farming production for Dan. Then we confirmed this with two other members for Hikari and Ronan, who also submitted their screenshots. And you can once again see the extended time between 12 and 1 o'clock. Yet the hours counted for sleep research completely ignored the extra hour that they slept. Now you might ask, well, what happens if the clock goes the other way at the end of the daylight savings, for example? And it is not what you'd expect. So here we have data of the daylight savings going the other way, and what happens is, if you lose an hour instead of gaining an hour of sleep in real life, the hours get crunched. So you can see this strange number here. It is neither 2 nor 3 a.m. But what's interesting here is that it says 9 a.m. there, but 10 a.m. here, which is completely different to what we saw when the daylight savings adds an hour to your sleep. So while technically in this situation from 12 a.m. to 9 a.m., the actual total sleep hours should be 8 hours, the app actually gives you an extra hour, and it displays that by showing you that you slept 10. And it is very strange that it does that. But thankfully, that means that if you did lose an hour of sleep in real life because of the clock changes during daylight savings, the app will still give you the full rewards. So in this case, while I only slept a total of 8 actual hours, I got 9 recorded. So here is the too long didn't read. If daylight savings gives you an extra hour of real life sleep, the app doesn't reward you for that extra hour. So just get up at the usual time. Don't try to get up an hour earlier, and you'll just get the usual reward. In contrast, if daylight saving actually takes away an hour of sleep from you in real life, the app is aware of that. You don't need to extend your sleep by an hour. You just need to wake up at the usual time. The app will then give you an extra hour. Now, before you go blasting my comments section, and I put this little side note here, just be aware that when you are communicating on this topic, when you say words like gaining an hour and losing an hour, you have to specify whether you're talking about gaining a sleep hour, like your real life sleep, or are you talking about gaining an hour in the game registered hours? They are totally different things. So for a confusing topic as it is, I don't want to add to the confusion. And that's all I have to say for today. Thank you for watching, guys. Remember to like and subscribe to my channel.